Everyone, welcome to the Royce Sports. I am your host, Royce, and in this video, we have a lot to talk about. We have Final Fantasy 16 rumors, Final Fantasy 7 rumors, we have Spyro, Quake, and the developer direct to talk about. Well, it seems like we have a lot of games to talk about, so let's just get into it and let's talk about it. This is an Xbox-centric channel, so if you like Xbox and you like talking about games a little bit too much, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Now that we have a new year, that means, of course, we're getting more rumors about Final Fantasy coming to Xbox. You can't start off the year without giving hope to Xbox players that we could finally play Final Fantasy 7 or Final Fantasy 16 on our platform. So let's talk about Final Fantasy 7 potentially coming to Xbox. Rumor, Jez Corden has heard that Final Fantasy 7 Remake may be coming to Xbox. Quote, I got evidence tentatively that there are discussions about Final Fantasy VII for Xbox, end quote. So that is pretty much the whole entire rumor there. Him just saying that there's discussions. Now, the thing I like about Jez is normally he doesn't talk on the rumor mill, or he doesn't bring things up or tease things unless he has concrete evidence of this happening. Now, these are just discussions. That doesn't necessarily mean that Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming to Xbox, but because there is actually a paperwork there, he knows that there are discussions happening that potentially we could finally see Final Fantasy VII on Xbox. And yes, I am port begging because I really do want this game on Xbox. In fact, I will buy it day one, just put it on the box and I will purchase it because I purchased all the Yakuza games, I purchased all the Persona games, and this is another series that I will purchase if it does make its way over to Xbox. The thing is, Special Nick has actually heard otherwise. Special Nick believes that Final Fantasy VII is not coming and that PlayStation actually has a lock on that game and they are holding it close to their chest for whatever reason. But he has heard other rumors about another Final Fantasy potentially coming to Xbox. Rumor, Special Nick reveals that Final Fantasy 16 has an Xbox port. Final Fantasy 16 was a mystery game Nick got the DM about last week. It's the same source that revealed visions of mana would be present at the Xbox Developer Direct. Nick has heard so many things about Final Fantasy 7 Remake coming to Xbox, but the one pervading thing I would always used to get told about 7 is don't hold your breath. Sony seems to not want to let that go. So Nick, during his live event, ended up getting a message about mana being at the showcase, which he thought didn't really make sense, and that's why he didn't want to put it out there, but it ended up being true. And the other thing that he got from the same person that sent him that message about the Developer Direct and mana being there stated that Final Fantasy 16 is being ported over to Xbox. Now, we know that Final Fantasy 16's exclusivity window ended in December, and that most likely means it will be coming to PC at some point this year, and maybe PlayStation doesn't really care too much about Final Fantasy 16 as they care about Final Fantasy 7 a lot more. So maybe we can actually see Final Fantasy 16 come to Xbox this year. And we know that Square Enix and Xbox's relationship has gotten really good over the past few months. They are going to bring Final Fantasy 14 over to Xbox at some point, maybe in February, I believe. And it shows that they're bringing other games, smaller titles, over to Xbox. And they even announced Visions of Mana coming as well. And they even gave them their own little portion of the Developer Direct during their event, which I think was kind of odd. It felt really misplaced. It felt kind of like it didn't belong, and it was just kind of confusing. Now the game looks good. I've never played a mana game, and maybe I can find out what all this is about by trying it out whenever it does come, but I feel like there's a time and place for that. But it shows that the relationship between them is prospering, and it's free advertisement for Square Enix, so of course they're going to take that, and that's what we ended up getting. Moving on from Final Fantasy, we're going to be talking about one of the best mascots to ever grace the silver screen, and that is Spyro. Spyro is one of those mascots that I've been waiting to make a return. We've seen it with Crash, and I want to see it with Spyro. It's so crazy that Activision has just regulated Spyro to just be a side character now. And it's like, give him his own game already. Like, we saw the success of Spyro the Reignited Trilogy, one of the best ways to play these games in a modern way, and I think they did a fantastic job on delivering this. Then now Crash has been getting a lot more love than Spyro. Crash has not only gotten a remastered trilogy, but they also remastered Crash Team Racing. They gave Crash a sequel with Crash 4, and they also have Crash Bash, which came out last year. So Crash is getting a lot of love, but what about the Purple Dragon? So there's a lot of rumors going around that maybe this is the year that they potentially reveal that they're working on the next Spyro. This comes from the Spyro the Dragon official account stating 2024 motto, "You gotta believe." So a lot of people are thinking that this is them kind of hinting at the fact that Spyro is still there to hold out hope and to kind of expect him to be coming in 2024. There's also a trophy in the Spyro the Dragon game that is titled Party Like It's 2024, kind of hinting at maybe the next Spyro game coming in 2024. But if you actually look at the calendar, 2024 is the year of the dragon, so maybe that is why they're stating that. Maybe that's why they're saying this and kind of showcasing Spyro, is because of the fact that it is the year of the dragon. They're kind of capitalizing on that. But I feel like they really do need to come out with another Spyro. I know that Toys for Bob really did a great job with handling Crash, and Beanox did a great job with Crash Team Racing. So maybe either of those teams can come together and make a Spyro game. I really think they need to make sure that this character is still alive and well. I don't want to see Spyro gone and missing for another 10 years. So let's not give him the Banjo treatment. Let's go. Let's do this. And the last on the rumor mill is Quake 6. This was seen during the developer direct on a whiteboard during Machine Games presentation for Indiana Jones. There was the Quake symbol with Quake 6 written down on that board. This is sort of like more of a tease than anything. Potentially Quake 6 is going to be coming, but it's odd that it's at Machine Games. I know that Machine Games works really closely with other Bethesda studios on games like they've done before, and they've done it with Arcane on the Wolfenstein Youngblood, and they've done creature designs for different creatures in the Evil Within series, so they always have their hand in what's going on at Bethesda. Machine Games did do the Quake 1 and 2 remaster, but it just seems so odd that they would be doing this as well. Machine Games still hasn't released indie, and we know that we still are waiting for Wolfenstein 3 at some point. So are they putting Wolfenstein on hold to work on Quake 6? And if that's the case, what is id working on? We know that Doom Year Zero was kind of leaked during the FTC trial, so maybe that's what id is working on, and maybe they're working on Quake 6 together in tandem. Who really knows? But we can expect Quake to make a big return at some point. Now on to the developer direct and my thoughts on that. So I went into the developer direct with high hopes, and I ended up leaving pretty excited for the future of Xbox for the year of 2024. What they showcased blew me away. I loved Avowed. I loved the fact that they finally gave us a release date for Hellblade, and Indiana Jones was a surprise hit and something that I didn't expect to enjoy as much as I did. They started off the show with Avowed, and the combat in this game looks really fun. I really enjoyed all the things they decided to do, including the dual wielding wands. That's like some next level shit. That's like some stuff that if Voldemort thought to do for a freaking second, he would have been able to take down the high school wizard Harry Potter, no problem. But he only wanted to just hang out with the Elder Wand. But yeah, this gameplay looked phenomenal. I like that they showcased the world a little bit more. They showed off the different biomes that they have, so you can expect to be a more bright and flourished world, which is something that I find very interesting. The downside of it was they really heavily focused on one area, which was like this desert, sandy oasis area, and I kind of wish they would have shown more than that, but they really wanted to just stick with this one area and this one biome. And another thing I didn't really like was how they did choice and consequence. They didn't really show us much in regards to that. They just pretty much showed the character talking to two dead guys, talking to a half dead guy, and then going and talking to a fully alive guy, and the choices of that you make and who you decide to back on that will have will affect the nearby town, and they don't show us any sort of effects that it's going to have, but they just tell us. And I feel like showing is a lot more impressive than just telling me something exists. I would have liked to have seen how the world shapes around the fact of them choosing one thing over the other, but they just said, don't worry, it's there. So seeing is believing, and I just really hope that they can nail it. I have high hopes and I believe in Obsidian, so I'm not too worried about it, but I just wish that they would have kind of given us a little bit more in regards to that aspect of the game. But other than that, this game looks phenomenal, and it looks better than what we've seen previously with the trailer at the June showcase. So it seems that they're improving upon it, and it didn't really get an official release date, but we know it's coming in fall 2024. So what do you guys think about it? Did you enjoy the Avowed gameplay? Do you think that there's some stuff missing that you wanted to see? Let me know. Moving on to Hellblade. I'm not really going to talk too much about Hellblade because I feel like Hellblade has been talked about to exhaustion at this point, because they have shown off Hellblade ever since the Xbox Series consoles were announced. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but we do have a release date of May 21st, 2024. So I'm glad that we're finally going to be able to play this game. I just wish that it was earlier or sooner. I want to play it now. We know it's only going to be 7 to 9 hours, which I see a lot of people online complaining about, that they wanted it to be longer, but I appreciate the fact that they are giving us a story in this window. I think more developers should take their time to develop these 7 to 10 hour games. As I've gotten older, I realize and I appreciate studios that actually want to just give me a good experience in a short amount of time. Now, I don't need every game to be 100 hours or have a game be 15 to 20 hours with just added side quests that don't really add too much to the experience. I'm not really going to mind too much about it being a shorter experience, especially since just looking at this direct and what they have to offer in this Hellblade is vastly improved over what Hellblade 1 was. They have other characters that are involved. They have Senua actually becoming a person, a figure for people to look up to, and how that is going to affect her going through this world and affect the story itself and the narrative. So I'm super stoked to see Hellblade in action come May 21st. Next in the developer direct, they ended up talking about mana, which I talked about earlier in the video. I'm not really going to touch on this at all. I don't really care. I think that this was an odd pacing thing, especially since it's not from first party and we didn't even get a release date other than summer of 2024. It's just a very odd placement for this. I feel like the developer direct should be dedicated to your first party studios or developers that you're working with in an exclusive capacity, like As Dusk Falls, like Ara History Untold. Like, I think that's what the developer direct should be focusing on, not third party companies coming in and kind of getting free advertisement. But that's my 2 cents on it. Again, don't really know much about Mana. I know it's his first time coming to Xbox, and hopefully this is a good sign to come with other Square Enix games. Then they ended up talking about Ara History Untold. This is a 4X strategy game similar to Civ, and I am not a fan of these type of games. I've never really played them, and I'm not going to play this one just because that's not something I'm into. But this is what really proves that the developer direct is important, was because of the passion that that team had. It really came across during their portion of the developer direct, and I'm rooting for them. I really do hope that this game does well for people who are into those games, because the developers there really seem like they care and they're trying to make a great game. But other than that, I'm not going to try it at all. But let me know, are you guys going to try PC Game Pass when it does launch? Last but certainly not least was Machine Games' Indiana Jones reveal. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I've been waiting for this game ever since they've announced back in 2021 that they're doing this, or 2020, and I just want to know, like, what if it was gonna be third person, if it was gonna be first person, and they finally revealed that fact in this direct, and we know that it's going to be first person. And my initial reaction to that was kind of upset. I was kind of displeased with that. I kind of wanted them to go a third person route because I wanted them to do something different, shake it up at the studio. But as they started to go on and show more of Indiana Jones and what they were doing there, I was blown away with this. This game feels like it could fit perfectly within the trilogy of Indiana Jones. We don't talk about the other two Indiana Jones, but these ones, right? It feels like it's literally taken straight out of that time during the 80s, during Indiana Jones at its peak, and it just, you could just nuzzle it in right there. And I really appreciate that. I think the voice acting is phenomenal. They got Indy just right. They got Troy Baker to play him, so you know, you got the guy in the voice acting world to be the guy. But other than that, I think it showed off really well. I do have some gripes with it. I think that some of the first person elements kind of seemed a little bit awkward, like him fist fighting people. It almost looks like he has like praying mantis arms at some points, and it just looks kind of weird, or like the arms seem kind of noodly at certain points. I think they'll probably tighten that down later on before the game releases. I also had some issues with the whip. I think that whips are very hard to get right in video games for some reason, whips and ropes. And so this is no different. There are some times where I felt like the hit registry on the whip wasn't hitting just right. It wasn't wrapping around them. It wasn't doing anything that I thought was next level that I was kind of hoping for. But regardless, what they showcased here is amazing. I mean, just the detail in the world, the detail on the characters. There's people showcasing that Indiana Jones had a thumbprint, and that you could see the scar on his face, and the sweat beads coming down his face was really cool. I know that's not the first time games have ever done that, but it's just a really nice touch. It just shows that Machine Games is taking their time and is really dedicated to making a great Indiana Jones game with the help of Todd Howard himself. The naming convention of this seems a little weak. Out of all the names, you wanted to come up with the Great Circle. That could have probably used some work. It just seems so, that's like something I would have come up with, not like, a multi-million-dollar game. But this game looks fantastic. I really am excited for this. It just seems, like once this is done, do we get a Wolfenstein 2? Do we get a Quake 6? I don't know. But what are your guys' thoughts on Indiana Jones? I am not the biggest Indiana Jones fan. I know that the first person aspect of it kind of threw some people off, including myself. But I actually enjoy that they went this way, because it sets it apart from other games of the same genre, like Uncharted, like Tomb Raider. And I know those two games took inspiration from Indiana Jones, but nowadays, I feel like those games are a little bit more popular than any Indiana Jones game ever has been. And so if you go and you create a game similar to that, all you're going to get is just constant references to that. They're going to be people complaining that, oh, Uncharted is better. Oh, Tomb Raider is better. But this is carving out its own direction. It's literally making its own path in this type of game, adventure game, that I'm pleased with it. I'm really glad they decided to go this route. And you're still going to get plenty of Indiana Jones back shots. And, you're going to be able to see him in cutscenes and stuff. Even there's like, when you're traversing, you'll be able to see Indiana Jones doing Indiana Jones type stuff. But for the most part, all the exploring, all the combat is going to be first person. So they really sold me on that. And I really think that I really want to play this game. 2024 is a fantastic year, because not only did they show off all these games, we know that we're still getting Flight Simulator at some point. We know that Towerborn is coming. We know that Stalker 2 finally ended up getting a reveal date of September 5th. So that's really awesome. We'll be finally getting Stalker this year. But this year is stacked for Xbox, and we're not even talking about other Activision games like Call of Duty. But that's the thing, is that all these games are coming out in the fall. Like, kind of spread them out a little bit, like, damn, I don't want to play all of these games during the fall. I want to play them periodically throughout the year. But there's something that Xbox just needs to work on. It's just their cadence with how they release these games. I'm excited. I can't wait to see more from Avowed. Can't wait to see more from Indiana Jones. And that's everything that has been talked about the past week. I'm kind of late on all this stuff, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I appreciate you guys for stopping by. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. It really helps. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, hopefully sooner than that, but be sure to hit that subscribe button if you like what you saw. But I'll be seeing you guys on the next one, and remember, take it easy.